Chosen one, you were marked before you even drew your first breath. Long before the world knew your name, before your parents held you, before your voice ever broke the silence, you were already known. You were etched into the unseen fabric of existence, a soul carrying a hidden seal. Have you ever felt it? That quiet weight on your shoulders, that restless stirring in your heart, that sense that no matter how ordinary your life may look, something about you has always been different. You are not here by accident. You are here because destiny whispered your name before the earth even spun you into being. There is an ancient story, told in countless tongues, echoing across generations. It is said that before souls entered the world, they stood in the presence of a great mystery, a vast, unfolding scroll of time. Some were given marks of fire, imprints unseen by human eyes, yet burned into their essence. These souls carried within them both a blessing and a burden. The blessing was alignment with a higher purpose, the ability to sense truths others could not see. The burden was isolation, the haunting feeling of being set apart, of never fully belonging. These chosen ones walked paths of hardship, rejection, and struggle, not because they were forgotten, but because they were remembered. And though the world often tried to silence their difference, the mark could never be erased. It revealed itself through dreams that felt too real, through synchronicities that defied logic, through wounds that became doorways to transformation. You are one of those souls. So pause for a moment. Breathe slowly. Place your hand over your chest and listen to the rhythm inside you. That heartbeat was set in motion before you had a name, before you had a story. It is the drumbeat of destiny, proof that you were meant to be here now. Let this truth sink into you. You are marked, and that mark is not a curse. It is a key that unlocks the reason you've always felt different, the reason you cannot ignore the signs calling you back to yourself. But listen carefully. If you continue to deny the mark, if you bury it under fear or distraction, if you live as though you were never set apart, then you will find life heavier than most. Because the mark refuses silence. It will speak through restless nights that refuse to give you peace, through relationships that fall apart without explanation, through opportunities that slip away until you confront the truth. To ignore it is to walk against the current of your own existence. And there is no deeper sorrow than carrying greatness while living as though you were ordinary. If these words stir something within you, then you already know this message is yours. You were marked before you were born. This is your awakening, your confirmation, your remembrance. Comment 111 if you have felt destiny pulling you since childhood. Comment 444 if you know unseen hands have guided you. Comment 777 if you are ready to step into the fullness of who you are. And subscribe, not just to follow this journey, but to ensure you never miss the words your soul has been waiting to hear. From the moment you arrived on this earth, the mark was already there, not carved into your skin, but etched into your soul. And though no one around you could see it, you felt it. Perhaps it began as an unexplainable loneliness, even when surrounded by people who loved you. Perhaps it showed itself in moments when you knew things you shouldn't know, when a voice within whispered warnings or guidance that later proved true. Or perhaps it came in the way life seemed to shape you through fire, through struggles, betrayals, and disappointments that would have broken others, but instead carved depth into you. The mark reveals itself through signs that others dismiss as coincidence, but that you cannot ignore. You wake at strange hours, as if pulled out of sleep by a force greater than yourself. You see repeating numbers that echo through your days like coded messages. 111, 222, 444. You feel sudden chills when truth is spoken, or an unshakable weight in your spirit when deception hovers nearby. These are not random. These are reminders that you are tethered to something beyond what can be seen. The mark is a spiritual seal, a hidden covenant, and it guides you through a language only your soul can interpret. Yet, with this mark comes struggle. Chosen ones are often misunderstood. You may have grown up feeling out of place in your own family, carrying dreams too vast for those around you to understand. You may have been mocked for your sensitivity, told you were too emotional, too different, or too much. What they could not see is that your sensitivity was not weakness, but sacred attunement. Like a finely tuned instrument, your soul was built to hear what others could not. That very trait people tried to crush was the evidence of your mark. Life has a way of testing the marked. You may have wondered why your path seemed harder than others, why the losses came sharper, why people left you even when you gave them everything. These trials are not punishments, they are confirmations. Fire does not burn gold, it reveals it. The struggles you endured were shaping you, refining you, preparing you to step into the destiny encoded into you before you were born. Those who carry the mark cannot walk an easy path because their purpose demands depth. But the mark is not only shown in hardship, it is shown in the uncanny moments when your spirit recognizes truth before your mind does. It is shown when you meet someone and feel you have known them for lifetimes, or when dreams bring you messages so vivid they change the course of your waking life. It is shown when silence itself begins to speak to you, carrying answers in the stillness. These are the fingerprints of the unseen, pressing gently against your journey, reminding you that you are not just another wanderer on earth. You are a soul on assignment. Ask yourself this: how many times have you felt guided by something you could not explain? How many times did you avoid disaster because of an intuition you almost ignored? How many times did pain lead you into growth that later became your greatest strength? If you trace these moments back, you will see the mark. It has always been there, pulling you, guiding you, shaping you into who you were always meant to be. And yet the question remains, why were you marked? Why you, when so many live unmarked, unaware, untouched by the weight of destiny? The answer is not found in comparison, but in remembrance. You were given this mark not because you were better, but because you were chosen for a path that demands awareness, courage, and surrender. The world needs what you carry, and the mark ensures that you cannot escape it. The truth is, being marked sets you apart, but it does not isolate you forever. There are others like you, souls who bear the unseen seal. They too have walked through fire, felt the sting of rejection, endured the silence of unanswered questions. And yet, like you, they rise. The mark connects you to them, like constellations across the sky, separate stars, yet part of the same pattern. So here you stand, with your life as the canvas of something greater. The question is not whether you are marked, you are. The real question is, will you accept it, or will you spend your life running from it? Because if you resist, the mark will only grow heavier. But if you embrace it, you will unlock strength, vision, and peace that others can only dream of. And that brings us to the mystery that waits in the shadows of this truth. If you were marked before you were born, then who or what placed the mark upon you? If you were marked before you were born, then you must ask, what does that truly mean for your journey? To be marked is not just to be different. It is to carry a silent covenant with the unseen, one that continues to reveal itself through whispers, dreams, and encounters that cannot be explained by ordinary logic. Many chosen ones speak of the feeling of living between two worlds. On one side is the visible life, work, family, obligations, routines. On the other is the invisible life, the dreams that wake you at night, the sudden waves of emotion that have no source, the strange sense that you are watched over, guided, and sometimes tested by forces you cannot name. This tension can feel like being torn in two, but in reality, It is the bridge you were born to walk. Perhaps you've noticed how life seems to circle back to the same lessons until you finally learn them. Betrayal repeats itself until you recognize your worth. Cycles of poverty, rejection, or abandonment echo until you rise above them. These are not accidents. They are the sharpening stones of the marked soul. You were chosen to face patterns that others run from, to break generational burdens, to see through illusions that have blinded families, communities, and entire lineages. The emotional weight of this calling is immense. You may feel exhaustion that goes deeper than the body, as if your soul itself is tired of carrying the unseen. You may question whether you are cursed, wondering why happiness seems fleeting while trials are constant. But the truth is not curse, it is consecration. The heaviness you feel is not punishment, but the gravity of your calling pressing against you, reminding you that your life cannot be lived small. Dreams often become the language of the marked. Have you ever awakened from a dream so vivid it stayed with you for years, even decades? Have you seen faces you've never met, symbols you didn't understand, places that felt more real than the waking world? This is the realm where the mark speaks loudest. For in dreams the barriers fall, and the soul remembers what the waking mind forgets. Some dreams warn you, others prepare you. Some reveal truths about people around you, exposing deception or confirming alignment. And others carry messages of destiny, telling you in symbols what your life refuses to say in words. It is through these encounters that you realize the mark is alive. It is not a scar, it is a voice. It calls you forward, it pulls you inward, it awakens you in seasons when the world would rather you sleep. And just as light exposes what was hidden, your awakening exposes both truth and shadow. For every moment of illumination, there will also be forces that rise against you. Not every smile is genuine. Not every offer is aligned. Those with the mark must learn to discern, not with the mind alone, but with the spirit. The psychological experience of the marked is complex. You may wrestle with anxiety that seems to have no cause, or waves of sadness that feel ancient, as though they are not just your own. This is because you are carrying more than yourself. The mark connects you to the collective story of those who came before you, those who failed to awaken, those who suffered under the weight of silence. In you, their voices rise again, but this time with the chance of being heard. This is why your battles feel heavier. They are not only yours, they are generational. Yet within this weight is a power unmatched. To carry the mark is to carry resilience that cannot be broken. How many times have you thought you were finished, only to rise again stronger than before? How many times have you lost what you thought you needed, only to discover that the loss was actually release? The mark ensures that no matter how many times you are pushed down, something within you refuses to stay there. That refusal, that relentless rising, is the evidence of your anointing. Still, the mystery lingers. If you were marked before you were born, then the hand that marked you must have known your future. It must have seen every storm, every betrayal, every sleepless night, and still decided you were capable of carrying it. This means you are not weak. You were trusted. Trusted with a story that only you could walk. Trusted with strength that would only awaken through trial. Trusted with the ability to see beyond the surface. And so you are left with a choice. Will you see your experiences as proof you are cursed, or will you see them as proof you are chosen? Will you let the weight break you, or will you let it shape you? Because here lies the greater question. If the mark was placed on you before birth, then what destiny was written into you that required such preparation? To be marked before you were born is to live with a hidden truth woven into your very being. Most people spend their lives searching outward for meaning, but for the marked, the truth is inscribed within. The struggle comes not in finding it, but in remembering it. And memory for the chosen soul is not about recalling the past. It is about awakening to what has always been. The hidden truth of the mark is that it is both light and weight. It is the flame that sets you apart, and it is the shadow that follows you until you understand it. Many who are marked spend years running from their own reflection, afraid of the intensity they carry, afraid of the depth of their sensitivity, afraid of the very uniqueness that reveals their calling. But running only deepens the shadow. The more you deny your difference, the more life will place you in situations that force you to confront it. There are seasons where the marked one feels surrounded by darkness. These are not accidents, they are thresholds. Light cannot be understood without shadow. Awakening cannot be embraced without first walking through sleep. You were born with the capacity to hold both. Your loneliness, your heartbreaks, your nights of confusion. These were not designed to destroy you, but to stretch your soul wide enough to carry the weight of your purpose. Think of it like this. A vessel cannot carry greater water unless it is first hollowed. Your trials were the hollowing. The nights you thought you would never survive were chiseling moments, carving space within you for the extraordinary. Every tear watered the soil of your awakening. Every rejection pushed you closer to alignment. Every ending was not a punishment but a clearing, making room for what was always meant to arrive. This is the secret of the mark. It binds you to transformation. Others can resist change, but you cannot. Your life will not allow you to remain the same. Where others settle, you are uprooted. Where others are blind, your eyes are forced open. Where others are satisfied with half-truths, your spirit burns until you uncover the whole. This is not cruelty, it is calling. And though it feels like restlessness, it is actually the rhythm of destiny beating inside you. The mark also awakens you to contrasts others cannot see. You feel the difference between authentic love and shallow imitation. You sense when someone's words carry truth or deception, even if they smile while lying. You perceive the unseen motives behind actions, the energy behind the mask. This sensitivity is not an accident, it is armor. It is the way the mark protects you, guiding you away from traps and toward alignment. But with great sensitivity comes great responsibility. The same awareness that allows you to see light also forces you to see darkness. The same openness that allows you to feel beauty also exposes you to pain. Many marked souls struggle under this duality, not realizing that their role is not to escape it, but to master it. You were not given this depth to drown in it. You were given it to learn how to breathe within it. Awakening means realizing that the darkness was never your enemy. It was your teacher. Without it, you would not have recognized the light within yourself. Without it, you would not have developed the resilience that now defines you. Without it, you would not be ready to step into the role you were born to play. And what is that role? It is to embody the very contrast you have endured, to become a living testament that light can rise from shadow, that purpose can emerge from pain, that awakening can be born from what seemed like ruin. Your life becomes the message. Your scars become the scripture. Your survival becomes the sign. The mark does not simply say you were chosen, it says you were prepared. Everything you faced was a rehearsal for the unveiling of who you truly are. The hidden truth is that nothing in your life was wasted. Not the tears, not the silence, not the betrayals. Every fragment belongs to the mosaic of your destiny. And now, as you listen to these words, something within you remembers, not with your mind, but with your soul. You remember that you were never meant to be ordinary. You remember that the weight you carry is not random. You remember that the fire you've walked through was the very proof that you were marked before birth. This is the revelation. The mark is not about what happened to you, but about who you are becoming through it. And when you embrace it fully, you will see that your life was never falling apart. It was always falling into place. The mark does not only exist in the mystical, it demands to be lived out in the ordinary rhythms of life. To be marked before birth is to carry a blueprint that shapes both your inner world and your outer reality. But this truth is useless if it remains only an idea. It must become embodied. It must become the way you rise each morning, the way you walk through loss, the way you see yourself when no one else is watching. There are universal laws woven into the fabric of existence, and the marked soul is wired to feel them. You may not have called them by name, but you've experienced their pull. The law of cycles, everything moving through seasons of growth, loss, renewal. The law of reflection, what you carry inside is mirrored back to you by the world around you. The law of alignment, when your thoughts, words, and actions converge, doors open that were once sealed. These laws are not reserved for mystics or philosophers. They are the quiet forces shaping every sunrise, every tide, every heartbeat. And the marked one learns, often through trial, that life becomes unbearable when lived against these laws, but powerful when lived in harmony with them. Your mindset is the bridge between the unseen and the lived reality. To see yourself as cursed is to chain yourself to suffering. To see yourself as chosen is to unlock strength that was waiting to be claimed. This is why the mark often drags the chosen through fire, because only in the fire can you confront what you believe about yourself. When you decide you are not abandoned but appointed, not rejected but redirected, not broken but rebuilt, you step into the rhythm the mark has been trying to reveal all along. Consider how often you have been forced to release what you thought you could not live without. The friendship you clung to that dissolved overnight. The job that ended when you needed stability the most. The place you thought was home but became too small for your growth. At the time, it felt like cruelty. But with distance, you began to see that each loss made room for something truer. This repetition is no accident. It is the prophecy of your life unfolding. The mark ensures you are never allowed to settle for less than what aligns with your destiny. Practical wisdom grows out of this. You begin to understand that rejection is protection. Delay is preparation. Silence is instruction. You learn to trust timing even when it breaks your heart. You learn to hold lightly to what you love, knowing that what is meant for you cannot be stolen. You learn to endure seasons of emptiness because emptiness is never the end. It is the soil of new beginnings. And there is power in repetition. Every time you rise, every time you refuse to quit, every time you speak life into your own weary bones, you are declaring to the unseen that you know who you are. The world may call you fragile, but the mark calls you unbreakable. The world may try to diminish your worth, but the mark stamps you with eternal value. The world may dismiss you as ordinary, but the mark whispers again and again, you were set apart before the beginning. This repetition becomes your strength. When the doubts return, remind yourself, I was marked before birth. When the storm rises, declare it, I was marked before birth. When the loneliness feels unbearable, breathe it, I was marked before birth. This affirmation is not fantasy, it is alignment. It is a reminder that your life has always been guided, always been held, always been unfolding with precision, even when you could not see it. And still, there is the emotional gap, the chasm between what you believe and what you see, between the promise you feel and the reality you live. This gap is the very place where the marked soul is stretched. It is uncomfortable. It is lonely. It is where faith feels like madness. Yet it is in this space that transformation takes root. For it is here that you stop relying on what is visible and begin relying on what is eternal. The mark teaches patience, but it also demands courage. It calls you to act when others hesitate, to trust when others mock, to move forward when the ground feels uncertain. The mark was not given to keep you safe. It was given to make you unstoppable. So the question that lingers is this: if the mark was meant to shape every part of your life, then what awaits when you finally stop resisting it and begin to live fully in its power? The journey of the marked soul is not a tale of survival, it is a tale of becoming. To be marked before you were born means that every chapter of your life, even the ones soaked in pain, has been preparing you for this moment. You are not simply waking up to a mystical truth. You are stepping into the culmination of everything you were designed to be. Think of your life as a tapestry. For years it may have looked like tangled threads, colors clashing, knots forming in chaos. You questioned the pattern. You wondered if there was any meaning at all. But now, as you rise into awareness, you begin to see the other side. The knots were not mistakes, they were anchors. The broken threads were not failures, they were transitions. The dark colors were not curses, they were the shadows that made the light shine brighter. Every detail has belonged, every stitch has led you here. This is the awakening moment. You were not forgotten, you were chosen. You were not random, you were written. You were not cursed, you were consecrated. The seal on your soul is proof that your very existence carries purpose far beyond what the world sees. And though life tried to break you, the truth is undeniable. You are still here. The fact that you are still standing, still breathing, still seeking is itself the greatest evidence of the mark. Now comes the challenge. Awakening is not an end, it is a beginning. To know you were marked before birth means you are accountable to that knowledge. You cannot return to the illusion of being ordinary. You cannot live numb, distracted, or diminished. You must rise. You must take ownership of your calling, of your sensitivity, of your resilience. The mark demands that you stand tall in a world that prefers you silent. This challenge is not about becoming someone else. It is about finally being who you have always been. The gifts you tried to hide, the intuition you tried to silence, the dreams you tried to forget. These are your weapons, your tools, your compass. They were not given by accident. They were planted before birth because your journey would require them. Now is the time to pick them up again. For some, this means stepping into leadership, guiding others through paths you've already walked. For others, it means breaking cycles of pain so that future generations live free. For others still, it means embodying compassion so radiant that it heals those who come near. The form will differ, but the essence is the same. You are here to shift the world around you, to carry light where darkness ruled, to be a living sign that destiny is real. And this is where prophecy becomes reality. The mark does not only say you are chosen, it says you are necessary. The world is waiting for what you carry. Your silence delays healing. Your fear postpones breakthroughs. Your doubt keeps others in chains. But your awakening, your decision to embrace your mark, unlocks freedom not only for you, but for everyone connected to you. This is the true weight of destiny. It is never just about you. So rise, chosen one. Rise with the certainty that your scars are sacred, your wounds are wisdom, your survival is a sign. Rise with the conviction that every trial was not in vain. Rise with the knowledge that you were marked before birth, and nothing in this world has the power to erase that mark. And as you rise, declare it boldly. Speak it into the atmosphere. Let it echo in your spirit until it becomes unshakable truth. I was marked before I was born. I was marked for purpose. I was marked for destiny. I was marked to awaken. This is your call to action, not just to watch, not just to listen, but to embody. Step fully into your role. Carry the weight with honor. Walk with the awareness that unseen eyes are watching, guiding, protecting. And remember, every step you take in alignment becomes a light for someone else still lost in the dark. If this message has stirred your spirit, mark this moment. Comment 111 to declare your awakening. Comment 444 to affirm that you know you are guided. Comment 777 to step into destiny without hesitation. And subscribe not as a casual choice, but as a sacred commitment to continue walking this journey. For this is only the beginning. You were marked before you were born. Now live as though the world cannot afford for you to forget it. Chosen one, the journey we have walked together in these moments is not just a story, not just a message, it is a remembrance. From the very beginning, you have carried the mark. It was with you before your first breath. It has shaped every season of your life, and it will continue to guide you long after this moment ends. The mark is not a mystery to be solved. It is a truth to be lived. It whispers in your silence. It stirs in your dreams. It breathes in your struggles, and it roars in your victories. To know that you were marked before you were born is to finally accept that nothing about you is ordinary. Your life has never been random. Even in the seasons where everything felt shattered, even in the times you thought you were forgotten, the mark remained. It has always been there, waiting for you to awaken. Now the awakening is here, and with it comes a responsibility to live as though you truly believe it, to rise each morning with the awareness that your steps matter, to love with a depth that heals, to speak words that carry life, to walk paths others fear to tread. For you were not given the mark simply to endure, you were given it to transform. This is the end of the message, but it is the beginning of your becoming. The tapestry of your destiny is still unfolding, and every choice from this point forward is a thread you will weave into it. Choose alignment over distraction. Choose courage over comfort. Choose remembrance over forgetfulness. For the mark will not fade, but whether you embody it fully depends on the choices you make now. So let these words seal themselves in your heart. You were marked before birth, and nothing in this world can unmark you. Not rejection, not failure, not fear. You are destined to walk a path that only you can walk. And though it may not always be easy, it will always be worth it. If this message has spoken to you, mark this moment with action. Comment 111 to affirm your awakening. Comment 444 to declare that you are guided and protected. Comment 777 to step boldly into your destiny without hesitation. And subscribe, not as a passing thought, but as a sacred choice, to continue walking this journey of remembrance, to never miss the words your soul has been waiting for. Chosen one, rise, for the world is waiting, and you, yes, you, were marked before you were born.